relations and gas mixtures. Okay, so the syllabus for this chapter is it contains Maxwell's relations, Clapeyron equations, Joule-Thomson coefficient, and we'll also talk about gas mixtures, how to calculate average properties in a mixture. So let us begin with the Maxwell's relations. So what is the significance or why Maxwell's relations are so important in thermodynamics? So as we know that entropy we cannot measure directly. Okay, basically we estimate entropy based on or we calculate entropy based on measurement of other properties. So we measure other properties and using that we calculate entropy. Okay, now sorry, Maxwell's relations help us to establish a relationship between entropy and other properties. So that is what is being used when you see entropy tables or when we talk about delta S. So we generally this is the background. This is what is being used to estimate entropy. And as I said, that change in entropy can be calculated using change in other properties. So we measure the change in pressure, temperature, or volume, and based on that we can calculate entropy. So this sets the background, or it helps you to appreciate why Maxwell's equations are so important for thermodynamics. Okay, now before we go to Maxwell's function, let us have some mathematical background. Okay, so briefly we'll talk about some continuous function. So let us say that z is a continuous and differentiable function which depends on x and y. So for our domain of interest, z is always continuous and all the points I can differentiate z. Okay. So I can write dz as dz of del z of del x with y as constant into dx plus del z by del y with x as constant and dy is multiplied. So this is basically we are differentiating partial differentiation with respect to x and y, right? Now let us say this quantity in this square box is m and this quantity is n. So can I write dz as, instead of this I will write m dx plus n dy. Okay, is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
We are just replacing this by m and n, that's all. Now this is how we define m and n, right? Can I write, if I differentiate this once more with respect to y, can I write this as a del square z of del x del y? Okay, now y is no more constant. Let us say I hold the x constant and write like this. Similarly, del n by del x will be del square z del y del x. So can you see any similarity here in this RHS?
Both are
Both are
same.
Both will be equal.
Both are same. So I can write del m by del y is equal to del n by del x. Okay, so this is one simple property for when we define z to be continuous and differential function of x and y. So this is what we are going to use for deriving Maxwell's equation. So let us begin with enthalpy. So enthalpy is U plus PV. Okay, and we'll define another function which is called Helmholtz function. So Helmholtz function is a difference between U internal energy minus Ts. So this is how it is defined. Okay, and one more function is Gibbs function. So which is defined as a difference of H is enthalpy minus Ts, temperature into entropy. That's it. So these are two functions that we are defining here and the definition. So this is what we have seen in the first law, actually a combined effect of first and second law. So du is TdS minus PdV. If you remember, this is This is basically replacing Q in the first law. dq is equal to TdS by second law, and du is equal to, let me write it for you. So what I'm saying is this was basically Q in the first law. So du is equal to dq minus dw. dw is PdV. So first law and second law combined give us du minus TdS plus PdV. Is this okay with everyone? Fine. Now dH, from this h I can write dhs. Basically, if you differentiate this du plus, okay, because du is expressed here like this, so I can write dh is equal to du plus pdv plus vdp. Okay, now pdv, let me write it for you. Okay, so dh I can write du plus pdv plus vdp. Okay, now if you look at this, du is equal to TdS minus PdV. So if I add du plus this, PdV will get cancelled, right? So what I'm left with, TdS and VdP. So this is what is written here. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now similarly for dA, I can write, I can use this. Let me delete it first so that it becomes clear. So in a similar fashion for dA also, dA will be du plus minus TdS minus SDT. Okay, SDT is there, TdS will get cancelled with this. So we are remaining with minus SDT and minus PdV is also remaining. So this is for dA. Similarly, I can write for dG. So dG will be dH minus TdS. So dH is this much. Okay, if you do minus TdS, if you differentiate this, you will get TdS minus SDT. Okay, so TdS minus TdS will get cancelled. You will get dG is equal to minus SDT plus VdP. Is this clear to everyone? We're just doing some differentiation and cancelling some term. That's all.
Sir, what is A, sir?
A is called Helmholtz function. So this is how we defined A. A is Helmholtz, G is Gibbs function. So the definition of A is U minus TS. That's it. Okay. Is it clear how we have got these equations?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us move on. So these are called Gibbs relations. Okay. So this will be used to derive Maxwell's equations. Now let us start with the first one. So we have defined du as TdS minus PdV, right? This is our first Gibbs relation. Let us start with this. So if you remember for this function, any continuous differential function, we defined dx as like this. So if I relate these two equations, if I say u is z, t is m, minus p is n, and s is x. S is x. S is x, ds is dx, and dv is dy. So if I correspondingly match each of the term, this is how it will look like. Now, for this equation, we have seen that dm by dy is equal to dn by dy, right? So can I use the same logic for this equation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will write what is dm by dy. M is t, so I can write del t divided by del y. Del y is del v. So del t by del v at constant x. X is, what is x? S. So del T by del V at constant S or constant entropy is equal to del N. What is del N? N is P. So del N will be minus del P, which is shown here, del X. Del X is del S, right? Minus del N by del X at constant Y. Y is V, which is shown here. Is this okay? We are just correspondingly we are matching each term and we are using this identity to obtain this relation, right? This is called Maxwell's first relation. So there are four relations using four Gibbs function. So this is the first one. Similarly, we will use the second Gibbs relation, which is dH is equal to TdS plus VdP. Now again we will use the same form. This is what I am interested in. And if we map, we'll see that H is mapping to Z, T is mapping to M, ds is dx, v is n, dp is dy. This is what is written here. Now we know that this is true. So similarly, I will write what it will be. M is T. So it will be del T by del Y. So you look at the first term and second term here. So del T by del Y is del P. Del T by del P at constant X. X is S. At constant entropy is equal to del V by del S. Del V is N. Right? V is N and S is X. So del V by del S at constant P. So this is a Maxwell's second relation. Okay. Similarly, let us go to the third relation. So this is Gibbs' third relation. Now we use the same form, and when you map, you will see that A is corresponding to X, minus S is corresponding to M, T is corresponding to X, minus, okay, this is minus. So when we say plus N, so let us say plus P, this you can write plus and minus P here. So N is equal to minus P and Y corresponds to dV, V. This is what is written here. And again, using this, we can obtain del S by del V at constant temperature is equal to del P by del T at constant specific volume. This is your Maxwell's third relation. Okay. Similarly, let us go to the last Maxwell's relation, which is fourth, using Gibbs function. So this is what we define as Gibbs function. So again, the corresponding mathematical function, and these are the corresponding variables. So G, okay, don't confuse this with gravity. This is Gibbs function, okay? Intensive form of Gibbs function, or capital G you can write for extensive property. So that G is corresponding to Z, minus S corresponds to M, dt is corresponding to dx, small v, which is specific volume, is corresponding to N, and dp is corresponding to dy, or p corresponds to y. And I use this relation, we can obtain del S by del V at constant temperature is equal to del P by del T at constant volume. And this is your fourth and last relation for Maxwell. So if you combine all that, what we see here is these are the four equations that we have derived in last 4 slides. So what we see here is that you see entropy is used in all these equations. So it is changed with respect to entropy or constant entropy. So what we see is that change in pressure, change in temperature and volume, these are being related to change in entropy. So as I mentioned, we cannot directly measure entropy. So we'll measure, see these are easy to measure, right? We can easily measure using a pressure gauge or something, that what is the delta P. We can easily measure what is the delta T and specific volume change. So by measuring all that, we can obtain what is the change in S, what is delta S. So that is why these Maxwell's relations are so important because it helps us to express S, which is otherwise difficult to measure, difficult or not possible to measure. We can just relate these terms and calculate what is the change in entropy. Okay, so let us now talk about Clausius-Clapeyron equation. So this is the Maxwell's third relation, right? We developed four relation. This is the third one. Now, for a saturation curve, okay, when you go talk about a vapor dome, P is a function of temperature only, right? If you remember when we got those plots, so these are the plots we are discussing for vapor power and refrigeration cycles. We said that, let us say this is a temperature entropy plot. So pressure remains constant, right? It was looking like this. So inside a vapor dome or a saturation curve, P is a function of temperature only. Okay, or let us say if I draw PV plot, so I can say if inside this dome, no, this will not be look like this, this will be draw it again. Okay, so let us say this is a PV plot. Okay, let us move this PV plot. So for a PV plot, if you remember, let us talk about this region only. If I hold my pressure constant, then temperature is also constant. Or I can say that pressure is a function of temperature. Okay, it will not depend on specific volume. Do you all agree to this statement? Right or not?
Yes, sir. Right.
Okay. So if this is true, then I can write Sg as this is basically difference between gas phase entropy and F stands for liquid. So difference between liquid and gas phase entropy. This can I write as dP by dt saturated into delta V in terms of gas phase and liquid phase. Okay. So what we have done here is we know that dP by dt is equal to ds by dV at constant temperature. Now we have stated that pressure is a function of temperature only. It is independent of V. Okay, inside the saturated dome, inside this region. So I can remove this. I can say del P by dt. Okay, I don't need to consider this. So I can say I can write it as instead of del, I can write dP. So dP by dt saturated. This is what I meant. Okay, and we can just, if you integrate it, you will get, you can take del V to this side and you simply integrate. So what you will get, if you integrate del S, you will have delta S, which is shown here, and then this is taken into that side. If you integrate that, you will get del V. Okay, and del P by del T is replaced by dP by dt. That is what we are doing here. Is this clear?
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, from the PV plot, we are seeing that the volume is continuously changing. Then, sir, how
Yes.
we have taken the volume to be constant in dP by dou P by dou T?
No, I'm not taking constant. I'm saying that inside this dome, pressure is only a function of temperature. Pressure is not controlled by volume. That's all. So if it is not controlled by volume, I can write instead of del P, I can write dP by dt. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now this is in your, if you go to your tables that we are yet to discuss, but I mentioned this, that these properties, the difference between liquid and gaseous properties are generally mentioned using this subscript. So SFG means this difference of Sg minus SF. And similarly, this will be written as VFG. Difference between gaseous volume and liquid volume is VFG. So I can write dP by dt saturated at saturation curve or for a saturated fluid, this is SFG by, we can take the ratio, we can take this divided by this. This is what is shown here.
So why we are
Okay.
taking this only for saturated part?
Because it remains constant. When I say that P is a function of T, that is true only for this part, for a saturated liquid. That is not
No, but
true.
inside vapor dome it is applicable everywhere.
Yes, instead, anyway, we are concerned with saturated, so this is what we are interested in. But inside vapor dome, as you see, if you maintain constant pressure, then temperature becomes constant, right? And we have seen if the temperature is maintained constant, then pressure becomes constant. So these two are related. So what is the assumption here is that pressure is not related to volume. Okay, it is a function of temperature only. So if that is true, then I can write in this form.
Okay.
Okay. So now let us talk about enthalpy. So this is what we have seen, Gibbs function. Now for a constant P, okay, when you take P as constant, I can write dP will be 0 if P is constant. So I can write dH as dH is equal to TdS, integrate between liquid to gas. So F stands for liquid. From liquid to gas, we are integrating. So I can say that what will be dH? dH will be HFG and TdS will be TSFG. Right? If you integrate with these limits, this is what we are going to get. So we had this relation from here, and this is what we get from integrating this. So we have two relations. Okay. Now here, instead of if you combine these two, okay, if you combine these two, what we are doing is dP by dt, which is the LHS, is equal to SFG. So SFG, if I replace from here, instead of SFG, I write H by T. Okay, so I will get this form. Can you see this? Okay, let me do one thing. I will erase everything and I will write again. It is a little bit tricky, so just bear with me, but try to understand what I am pointing out. Okay, so up to here, I think it's clear to everyone. If you integrate this, you'll get this form. Is this fine? Any questions how we got here?
Sir, when pressure is constant, and how it is a function of temperature then?
No. This is, you forget. This is one relation. Now we are talking about another. We are just concerned with this, and we are deriving this. Okay. For first talk about this. Here, can I write like this? If I say pressure is constant, so this will be gone. I will integrate.
Yes, sir.
This whole term is gone. So this is what we have, right?
Yes,
This is
sir.
okay with you. Now, so basically what we are saying is that H can be related to TS. That's all it's saying. When basically we are, see, basically this Clausius-Clapeyron equation, this is useful for phase change. When you have liquid vapor interface, when we are looking at phase change, so that is why we define in terms of Fg. Okay. Now this is what we have derived here, and this is what we have found from this. Okay. Now, if you combine these two, so in this relation, if I replace SFG by SFG is what? H divided by T, right? So that is, if we replace here, So LHS will be same. Instead of SFG, I write H by T. So H is there, divided by T, and V is already there. Right? So this is called your Clausius-Clapeyron relation. Okay. And I can, instead of writing FG, I can also write 1, 2. So these are indicating two different phases. Okay, dP by dt is H12 TVFG. So what I'll suggest now is we just look at this derivation once more. And okay, when we look at numericals, then if you look at how these values are coming and how to estimate, then hopefully it will be more clear. Okay. So moving on, we have 1 or 2 slides left. I just want to wind this up. So, do you want to stop or should we continue? Yeah, let us stop here.